Hello, everyone, and welcome to our deep dive sharing session today. Welcome to Empower Fantastic Life. Find your power, live without limits. I'm absolutely thrilled to be your guide as we explore a truly transformative roadmap for your mind. Today, we're unpacking the core mechanics of Dr. Caroline Leaf's groundbreaking guide, Switch on Your Brain. If you've ever felt stuck in a relentless cycle of negativity or just mental exhaustion, you are definitely in the right place. Because today, we're going to learn exactly how to upgrade your brain. Let's dive right in.
So let me ask you this. Can a single thought actually make you physically sick? I know, it sounds a bit like a philosophical riddle, doesn't it? But the science behind this is honestly staggering. Dr. Leaf's research reveals that anywhere from 75 to a whopping 98% of our physical, mental, and emotional illnesses actually stem directly from our thought life. It's true. Long-term stress, bitterness, and anxiety don't just stay in your head. They directly suppress your immune system and can trigger some very serious health issues. Your thoughts carry immense physical weight. Which brings us to Section 1, Mind over Gray Matter. Let's talk about the active source. For decades, traditional medicine sold us a rather bleak story. We were essentially told that once you reach adulthood, your brain structure is completely fixed, it is what it is, and it's totally unchangeable. Well, today, we are confidently shattering that outdated myth. But to really understand how, we have to clearly separate two distinct terms, the mind and the brain. They are not the same thing at all. Your mind, which includes your thoughts, your feelings, and your willpower, is the active source. The brain, on the other hand, is simply the physical carrier. It's the biological machine that just patiently waits for and then acts upon the instructions your mind feeds it. Let's ground this concept right away with an everyday analogy. Think of your mind as the active software programmer sitting at a desk typing away. Your brain is just the hardware computer executing the code. The hardware doesn't decide what programs to run, right? The programmer does. You are the programmer, and your thoughts are the code. And here's where it gets incredible. Every single time the programmer types a line of code, the hardware physically alters. This brings us to a brilliant scientific reality called neuroplasticity. In simple terms, this is your brain's ability to actually change, both chemically and structurally, in response to your thoughts. Science has proven that every single thought you have physically alters the microscopic structure of your brain. Imagine taking a walk on a totally overgrown path in a dense forest. The very first time you walk through, it's tough. You have to push heavy branches aside, trample down the thick grass. It takes effort. But if you walk that exact same path every single day, the brush clears, the dirt packs down, and eventually it becomes a wide, permanent, and effortless trail. Well, your brain works the exact same way. The more you walk down a specific thought path, the wider and more permanent that neural circuit becomes. So let's visualize this in Section 2, Trees versus Thorny Bushes. If our thoughts are building literal physical paths and structures inside our heads, what do those structures actually look like? Well, under a microscope, healthy, positive thoughts literally look like lush, vibrant trees, just full of life. These neural trees secrete beneficial chemicals, things like dopamine and serotonin, that make us feel great. On the flip side, toxic thoughts, the ones rooted in fear, anxiety, or resentment, create ugly, damaging structures that look exactly like thorny bushes. And these thorns stimulate the release of excess stress hormones. That causes brain inflammation and can actually physically damage your neural connections. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, okay, but what about my genetics? Am I just hardwired by my DNA to be anxious? This introduces us to a fascinating area of science known as epigenetics. Simply put, this is the process by which your environment and your emotions turn specific genes on or off. What this really means for us is incredibly empowering. Your fixed DNA sequence is absolutely not your inescapable destiny. Let's use another quick everyday example to make sense of this. Likening epigenetics to a smart home system, the wiring, your DNA, is already built into the walls of the house. You can't change the wiring, but you hold the control tablet. Your thoughts are the literal finger flipping the smart switches on and off. Healthy thoughts flip the switch to activate disease-fighting genes, while those thorny, toxic thoughts, they flip the switch to activate disease-causing genes. And this power of choice is actually backed by the quantum physics of focus. I know that sounds super complex, but it essentially means that concentrating deeply on an idea collapses it into a physical reality within your brain. Put simply, whatever we choose to actively focus our attention on becomes a tangible, physical reality inside our minds. It operates exactly like a camera lens zooming in. Imagine you're looking through a DSLR camera, everything in the background is totally blurry. But the moment you zoom in and focus your attention on one specific subject, it solidifies from a blurry background element into a sharp, undeniable reality right in the foreground. If you focus on your fears, they literally become your physical reality. If you focus on your growth, that becomes your reality instead.
All right, let's get practical in section 3, the 5-step brain detox. Time to clean up the hardware. So how do we actually clean up this hardware? How do we uproot those thorny bushes? Well, before we look at the specific steps, I need you to focus on this number, 21. It takes exactly 21 days of daily, deliberate effort to physically tear down a toxic neural circuit and build a brand new, healthy one in your brain. You cannot rush biology. 21 days is the absolute magic number for real structural change. However, to truly master this, we have to look at another number, 63. This represents 3 complete 21-day cycles. You see, while the first 21 days physically build the new pathway, it takes 63 days total to completely automate this new thought pattern, so it becomes an effortless subconscious habit. So here is your complete 5-step daily blueprint. And honestly, the best part is that investing just 7 to 15 minutes a day is all it takes to systematically replace those toxic thorns with life-giving trees. Let's break down each of these steps so you can literally start applying them today. Step 1 is gather. Think of this as hitting pause on your mental autopilot. Throughout a normal day, we let thousands of thoughts just slip by unnoticed. Gathering is the active process of consciously catching a hidden toxic thought. Maybe it's something like, I can't do this, or I'm a total disaster, and pulling it directly into the light before it has the chance to take deep root. Once you've caught it, you immediately move to step 2, focused reflection. This involves staring directly at that negative thought to find its root cause. Ask yourself, why am I actually feeling this anxiety right now? Scientifically, when you force your brain to intensely analyze a negative thought, that toxic circuit actually becomes unstable and malleable. It's now primed and ready to be broken. With the circuit unstable, we enter step 3, journaling. This acts as your everyday brain dump. Write it down. Draw a messy mind map if you want. Just get the mental chaos out of your head and onto the paper. This brilliant physical action activates both the left and right sides of your brain, and it turns blurry, overwhelming anxiety into clear, objective words on a page that you can actually manage. Next, we reach step 4, revisit. This is where you take out your editor's pen. You look at that piece of paper and you consciously, deliberately rewrite the script with constructive truth. You turn I am a failure at my job into I am learning a new skill for tomorrow. This active reframing is exactly what effectively dismantles the thorny bush in your brain tissue. And finally, step 5 is active reach. This is a tangible, physical daily action that you take to water your newly planted neural tree. So if you're feeling anxious, your active reach might be sending a quick thank you text to a friend to shift your brain into gratitude, or maybe verbally repeating a positive affirmation. It bridges that vital gap between your mind and your physical reality. This brings us to our final section, your new mental blueprint. We've covered the science, the structures, and the daily steps. Now, I really want this incredibly empowering takeaway to sink in deeply for you. You are not a passive victim of your biology. You are the co-creator of your brain. By dedicating just a few short minutes of conscious, daily effort to this detox plan, you hold the master blueprint to your mental health. You are the software programmer, and you absolutely have the power to rewrite your code. So, as we wrap up our sharing session today, I want to leave you with a crucial question to apply right now in your real life. Which thorny bush are you going to uproot today? Identify that one toxic thought and start your 21 days right now. You've been listening to Empower Fantastic Life Jaeger Empowerment Academy. See you next time. Bye-bye.